Alliance, we would like to say congratulations. 50, yeah, Roger, you stay there. Congratulations on, we're talking about you.
Right there,
Yeah.
right there, right there.
Congratulations on 50 years, and I know it's such an accomplishment, and I know you've been in the library since its inception, which was 2001.
That's right.
So been 24 years here already, which is hard to believe. So again, we just want to say congratulations. We're proud of everything that the Webster County Historical Society does and what you guys do to preserve our history. And I'll turn it over to Steve, and he's going to say a few words. So congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. We're very proud here. I really appreciate everybody coming out, and we have a great thanks for Greater Growth Alliance. Actually, the Historical Society started in 1906, and it was started by Mrs. Jonathan Dolliver. And there's a little history there. Back in the day, they never used the female's first name. It was Mrs. Jonathan Dolliver. So I think that's kind of interesting how good things have changed.
Here, here.
So-
People would agree.
So that went on, the first one went on about 30 years and kind of disbanded, and then another one started and it quit in the 1960s. But in 1975, the corporation, the articles of incorporation were filed, and Roger Natte was a board member and a treasurer of the Historical Society starting in 1975. So he's been here for 50 years. So I want to read the mission statement to you. It's very short. The mission of the Webster County Historical Society is to engage the community in preserving, promoting, educating, and celebrating our rich history and culture. And I don't know if you've been back in the archive room, but we've got a small room back there with all the archives, all the 12,000 photographs, 12,000 sets of negatives, articles, books, all about the history that Roger has played a huge role in accumulating. So I want to ask some questions, see how well you are versed on history. When was Webster County established?
Tuesday.
Only during leap year.
1853. Yeah. And what was it named after? Where did we get Webster? Daniel Webster, the great statesman. Webster County is named after him. So, next question is, when was Fort Dodge started? Now, the first fort was in 850. Was it called Fort Dodge? No, Fort Clark. And the reason it was changed from Fort Clark in 1 year is because there was another Fort Clark, and they were getting mail screwed up. So they changed the name to Fort Dodge after a Henry Dodge in Wisconsin, and he was a statesman in Wisconsin. So why Wisconsin? Well, before Iowa became a state in 1846, Iowa was connected to Wisconsin as a territory. So, more questions that you should know.
We didn't hear the story. What year was it? 1919. The city was.
1850, but it was named Fort Dodge in 1851.
1850.
Yeah, it's like 7 years after, 6 years after the Iowa became a state. So, I want to pique your interest in history. I want you to all, at some point, go to the archives and look at stuff. In 1910, how many passenger trains came through Webster County and to Fort Dodge daily?
40. 22.
35 a day came into Webster County and Fort Dodge every day. So in 1946 to 49, after the Second World War, how many businesses were located downtown? And downtown's defined as First Avenue South to First Avenue North to 15th Street and to the river. So how many businesses?
Lots.
402. 402, and I just want to go through some of them that are kind of
You did a
interesting.
lot of research.
Oh, yeah, this is fun. That's, it's fun to get into this stuff. How many women's clothing stores were downtown? 20. How many do we have now?
Downtown?
Anywhere in Fort Dodge, I don't know. How many cafes? 37. How many shoe stores and repair shops? 13. How many barber shops? 18. 9 hotels. How many grocery stores in downtown?
24.
34.
Grocery stores.
But back in those days, every neighborhood had a grocery store. I grew up next to Northside Grocery and, you know, Cornell's and everything. How many lawyers were in Fort Dodge?
Way too many.
Too many.
8,000?
There were, there were 27 downtown, and guess what we have now? About 12. So that's maybe a good thing. But now I want to focus on Roger. Roger Natte came to Fort Dodge while he was attending college, the Teachers College in Iowa, that became Northern Iowa. And he student taught, while he was in college at North Junior High, taught the 8th grade history. And yeah, that had to be fun, huh, Roger? And then, what does Roger do after he gets his degree, teaching degree? He joins the Peace Corps. He goes to Africa for 2.5 years and works in Western Africa. Which country?
Liberia.
There you go, Liberia. He comes back from serving in the Peace Corps for 2.5 years, and he gets a job at Iowa Central. It wasn't called Iowa Central there, it was, what was it called?
Fort Dodge Junior College.
That sounds good. And he taught there, Roger taught there for 33 years. Then he retired.
Now, you mentioned that, you know, I wonder how many Peace Corps volunteers are still living in Fort Dodge.
I don't know. Do you have any?
I don't either, so you know.
Yeah.
History is happening,
Yep.
and we aren't doing such a hot job of
Yeah.
drawing that together.
Well, we're gonna keep trying.
There's a program we could put in there.
So for the last, since 1975, Roger's been accumulating books, articles, photographs, and organizing them in the archive room. And wait till you see the archive room. It's not huge, but it's full. And so because of Roger's involvement and continued support, the board of the Historical Society has voted unanimously to honor him. And we're honoring Roger by, we're naming forever the archive room to be the Roger Natte Archives. And that will be hung in the archive room forever. Congratulations.
I'm not any better looking now. Wow.
So, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you.
Refreshments are right around the corner in the little conference room, and we'd love you to walk down the hall and peruse our shelves of the Historical Society.
And we also have some things out on display on the 2 counters. Lori and I developed a program that we gave last week for the Brown Bag briefing on the theaters, as she said. Lots of great photos of downtown Fort Dodge, and the things that we discovered from everything from the 1921 in April was the first time someone went to the city council and wanted censoring. And most of the time, the theaters that burnt down, it was because the projection bulb blew up in the room.
Ask them how many theaters over the years there were.
We've shared with some of you, but how many theaters since 1900 do you think there's been just in downtown Fort Dodge?
28.
28. Who said that? You were there.
28.
28. Some of them had names that they got renamed, other things. But some of the neat stories that people told last week when we did our presentation was the Rialto had a slanted floor and it was hardwood, and if you dropped your jawbreaker, you could hear it roll all the way down to the screen. Jim Kramer shared that if he had 50 cents, he could ride the bus downtown, he could buy his ticket to get into the movie. He would buy himself a box of Boston baked beans, and he would watch 2 movies and a cartoon in between, making sure to save 10 cents so he could ride the bus.
Yes.
I didn't see that old.
Yeah, no kidding. And, you know, and then the Dodge was, when it was first opened, it was supposedly the theater of the future right after World War II. It had the first love seats in a movie theater. They were two-person seats that they had. It was also like an Art Deco decoration, but we've got some photos, so take a minute, and it won't take you long to look through them. We're not gonna put you through the PowerPoint or anything. But just really interesting information that Lori and I discovered. We're not ready to jump on another program right away, I will tell you that. But it was really fun discovering it, so.
And one little historic piece on this building, when Fort Dodge won the All-America City Honor, and I believe it was 2001 or 2, it was a live broadcast from the library.
That's right,
And the
that's
whole
right.
library was full of citizens broadcasting back to Atlanta for the finals.
Yeah, with our sunglasses.
Yep, the don't turn out the lights in Fort Dodge, the future's bright.
Oh, nice.
So it was right from this building.
Will you stand by here, we'd like your picture. Stand here.
Oh, my.
Thank you for coming.
Did someone,
I'm gonna get it here.
did someone get, from home bring that photograph?
That's
It's just the sheriff.
That's the shirt.